Hey there, this is Kat, and thank you for joining me on my Stand Out and Grow live podcast. Today, I have a special guest, and I am super excited to bring John Gumas on. He runs an advertising agency, so it will be great to hear some of his philosophies and theories and resources that would help your business stand out and grow. So, without further ado, let me bring John on so that you get to meet him. And for housekeeping sake, if you're tuning in, please drop a comment below in where you're tuning in from. And if you have any questions, drop them. We will get back to you and we will answer your questions. Hey, John.
Hi, Kat. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here.
Yes, I absolutely love talking to other marketing professionals for the fact that I think it helps resonate with people that the resounding message from professionals in the industry. And I'm just going to share my one sweet magic bullet philosophy because, everybody's always looking for it. And I'm sure you're going to confirm is consistency. So, regardless of what you do, I don't care how much money you spend, I don't care where you're at or what it is you do. Consistency is king. But now I'm not here to talk. I'm here to let John talk. So, John, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Kat. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, consistency is certainly one of the things that you want to do. But a little about me, and I'll make it quick. So I have run a full service branding, advertising, and digital marketing firm for, next year's gonna be 40 years.
Wow.
I just shocked myself, but yeah, I was 12 years old when I started, just so you know.
Awesome.
But yeah, and our agency does, it helps businesses of all shapes and sizes grow, right? How do you systematically grow business? And to do that, we have developed a methodology over the many years that we call Challenger Brand Marketing. And Challenger Brand Marketing is a methodology that we developed, that we've trademarked, and we've been using with many, many clients over the years. And it's been very successful. And
Awesome. Awesome. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, it's fine. Yeah, so I just gonna tell you, Challenger Brand Marketing is this concept of if you're not spending the most money in the market in the category, if you're being out resourced in any way, and usually that's money,
Yep.
marketing money, but it also can be retail locations, it can be sales force, it could even be if you're in a complex or very crowded marketplace.
Yep.
You can't outspend your way through. The only organizations that can outspend their way through are the guerrilla brands. So challenger brands have to approach it in a completely different way, because they have resources that are usually limited. Doesn't mean they're small, but it means they're limited in terms of comparison to the larger organizations. So they just have to have a very systematic way of approaching marketing, and that's what challenger brand marketing is all about.
Okay, so apparently this is a term. Is this a term you came up with, or is this a common term? The
Well,
challenger
you know
brand
what?
marketing.
It's interesting. It is trademarked to us. So
Okay.
challenger brand marketing is a trademark to us. But I'm happy to say that I guess its flattery is what the ultimate compliment, because we're seeing it more and more and more, and it's becoming an industry term.
Okay.
But yeah, if you look at the trademark, we own it.
Okay. So, and the reason why I ask is like, what defines a challenger brand marketer? Like, so that people can relate. Like, if someone's tuning in and they want to know, like, is this for me?
Sure. It's literally any company in any industry, profit or nonprofit, that is not the number one in their category. But it doesn't mean it's a tiny company. All right. So uh, but you look at companies out there, Hertz,
Mm.
they're the
Yep.
gorilla, and Avis is a challenger brand.
Yep.
Pepsi is the challenger brand to Coke.
Yep.
So they come in all shapes and sizes, but you have to understand that when you're a challenger brand, marketing is not a concept of outspending. right? It's a concept of outthinking, outmaneuvering, and maximizing the resources that you have at your disposal to get the most out of those resources and to market in the areas where you can be successful and you can measure success and systematically grow business. So
Okay.
it's not just throwing money out there and and hoping it works.
Okay. Now, challenger brand marketing, is this because clearly it's a methodology that you guys implement and delivering to your clients and helping them build a business. So, I guess, are you going to give us some insight as to the methodology or anything? I mean, like, what are you going to be sharing with us in regards to the
Oh,
challenger brand marketing?
I'll be happy to share everything. I'll tell you exactly how it works. I'll tell you the whole system. I'll tell you how we do it and why we do it. I'd love for your listeners to walk away with something of value, right? To
Nice.
say, wow, I can actually implement this today, and I could see a huge difference in my business.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I guess I thought you were going to elaborate a little. Uh,
Oh, I'm ready to go into it if you want me to.
okay,
I was setting you up for the big drum roll, but
so just walk us through because I know that in your notes to me you said there are 5 steps, right, of the challenger brand marketing. So can you walk us through those?
absolutely. And let me walk through in very quick detail. And if your listeners have detailed questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Okay,
But
awesome.
there are 5 steps, and the first step is what's referred to as discovery. We refer to as discovery, where we need to talk to 2 main constituencies: what we call external, which would be customers,
Yep.
and what we refer to as internal, which would be our clients. And the one caveat I want to make about challenger brand marketing, and the biggest mistake that we see constantly, is companies assume they know. They assume they know what they need to say. They assume they know the real reason why their customers buy from them versus their competitors. They
Mm-hmm.
truly think they know. And this isn't I'm not trying to put anybody down, but it's kind of this normal human thing that happens, that you're in a business, day in and day out. There's no way you can look at it objectively from the outside, like a
Right.
prospective new customer would. So what we try to do, first, most critical component, is we got to get the messaging right. What is
Mm-hmm.
it you say, how you say it, who you say it to, the vehicles that you use. What you say is by far the most important thing, because most prospects come to us and say, I want to start advertising. Okay, I want to run ads here and there, and go, whoa, wait, time out. Why? What are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
And how did you get to that point? And a lot of times they don't have a logical answer for us. It's just, that's what I want to do. So before we spend any money, we need to make sure we're right. So the first thing we do is a process called discovery, step one. So we'll take a handful of customers and interview them. And we do this on the telephone. And there's a reason we do it on the telephone, because we're not big fans of online surveys. Because
Mm-hmm.
online surveys, it's so easy to check the quick box. It's so easy to move on and not really think of the answer. So we're not fans of those. We're not fans of focus groups in most instances, because focus groups tend to be dominated by 1 or 2 people and influence everybody else. So the worst thing that can happen if you don't do the research right, is you get the wrong information.
Yeah.
And the wrong information is really can be devastating. So we go through this extensive process to make sure that we ask the right people the right questions, so we get the truth, what we call the truth, the real reasons. So we'll interview customers first, and we'll do it on the telephone, because telephone is the least intimidating form.
Yep.
You and I are looking each other in the eye right now on Zoom, and it's still intimidating, right? I want to tell Kat what she wants to hear, but that's not valuable. So we interview customers and we ask them a very, very unique set of questions. We don't care if they like the blue one or the red one better. They don't care if the store opens at 9 or 10. We don't care what products their favorite. We're trying to find out why truly why they purchased or this product, or they chose this company, or they used this service over the competitors. What were the words that influenced you? What were the emotions behind that decision?
Yep.
Okay, so knowing that is, I would argue, the most valuable thing a customer or a company will ever do in their marketing journey.
Yep.
So we gather that information. Then we take our customers, the folks within the company, the key folks, and we interview them in a very similar way, using a very similar questions. And what we're trying to find out is how they align with what their customers are thinking.
Yep.
And Kat, like I said at the beginning of the show, I've been doing this almost 40 years. Not once in the 40 years what our customers thought their customers needed to hear aligned directly with what their customers said they want to hear. Not once have those aligned. And just that slight misalignment is enough to create a huge disconnect.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. We'll talk to them internally. And the other thing we find out when we're talking to our clients internally is how disconnected they are. They all tell us completely different things. And from a challenger brand perspective, if a company is going to be successful, everyone within that company needs to say the same thing, describe it the same way, and have the same vision.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. So the discovery is interviewing customers, interviewing internally, and it's also doing an analysis of the competitors, because we need to know what they're doing, what they're saying, what their positions are, what their messaging is. So those 3 points of data lead us to the second step. And the second step is what we refer to as the strategy and messaging. So if we do the discovery right, the first step right, the second step writes itself, because we're creating messaging and we're creating the strategy based on facts. We're not basing it on guessing or thinking or assumptions. It's on facts. And so those 2 steps of the 5 steps are probably the most critical part of the 5-step process. So now we're armed with the messaging, we're armed with the strategy based on the facts. Now we go to the third step, which is we refer to as the creative, right? The creative would be, anything that it is visual. How do we align the words to the visuals? How do we bring the words to life?
Yeah.
And the interesting part about the third step is this is where most companies start their marketing programs, right? Hey, I want to do an ad. I got, my employee was telling me about a great tagline. I think it's really fun. Let's use it. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
So the third step is bringing all the creative to life. And that could be, brand adjustments. It could be website adjustments. It's how the social media look, how, everything from, sales materials for salespeople, everything. It's all tied together in a branded look. That's step 3. Step 4 is how do we take those creative materials and bring them to market in the most cost-effective, efficient manner based on the resources that our clients have to spend. Now that's critical because a lot of companies just start going out there and trying all sorts of things.
Yep.
Well, challenger brand marketing is really an exercise of understanding the resources you have and creating a marketing plan that maximizes those resources. And what that means is many times is you can't do the things that you really want to do, or that your daughter tells you to do, because you can't afford them right now.
Yeah.
So it's this exercise of how you get, start at level 1, build slowly to level 2, then level 3, level 4, level 5. Then you create momentum and grow.
Yep.
And that's the 4th step is what's that plan look like? And the 5th step is the implementation of everything.
Yep.
And most companies would bring us on as like part of the marketing department or to support their marketing department. And we're managing the million details that go on every day and the optimization of absolutely everything we're doing and making things better and more efficient and growing and tracking and measuring that growth on an hourly, daily, weekly basis. So those are the 5 steps in a very fast
Okay. And
description.
And that was great information. I have some follow-up questions, but before that, Lisa or Lizette was asking a question. So what are some answers or comments when customers are asked, why did you purchase from XYZ company? Are there any similarities in their answers? I'm sure that when you're asking these questions, you guys are discerning and gathering this, right? To find the similarities or maybe the
Oh,
anomalies.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, she's absolutely right. And that's what you're looking for. And and there is a technique that we use that we've developed over the years, and it's not just the answers, but
Yep.
it's listening to the emotion behind the answer, because the truth comes in the emotion. When you could tell they're a little passionate about, let's say, a service or an offering or something that company does, and then we really try to extract that from their customer. Okay, why? What was it? Even down to the words. What are the words that really motivated you to use this company over the other three competitors you were considering? But when we start doing these exercises, there is a consistency, there is a pattern
Yep.
that starts to create. Because ultimately, right, what we're looking for is we're looking for clones, right? So we as humans, there's not many psychographic categories we follow into, but for a challenger brand to grow, you have to find people that are just like your core customers, just like your raving fans,
Yeah.
right? We're looking for people that are like them, who have the same values, have the same wants and needs. So that's the fastest and easiest and most cost-effective way to jumpstart a challenger brand marketing program. Then that gets it rolling.
Yeah. And so I see this like taking it a step further from like if you can drop like a customer base list into an ad campaign so it can search and scour people like them. But I think what you do, John, is you take it a step further is you're getting the response, the human response from people as opposed to just using people's titles and names and then the AI or the tool will search, identify people similar to them, right? On the back end.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know what? And we're not looking for demographic information. We're looking
Yeah.
for emotional information.
Yep. Yep.
And because, people do business with people.
Yep.
All right. People view brands as individuals, as they should. So there is an emotion. And I could give you an example, of I give you many, but I'm thinking of one right now. And it was a company that was in the travel space.
Mm-hmm.
And we work with companies in so many categories, but this one it was kind of relevant because it was such an obvious aha moment that the discovery just really turned this company around. So they had this online product where you could, um, analyze insurance coverages for your trip,
Mm-hmm.
through basically everything out there, every insurance out there. So instead of you going through 10 different companies and analyzing, they would do this for you. And you would give them some criteria, and they would come back with, here are the most effective or the most cost effective options for you based on your criteria. And here are all the companies. So now your research is really, really done for you. So this company, these owners were convinced that this technology, this back end AI technology that they had developed, was so cutting edge, and that's why people wanted to use them. They were, I mean, convinced. You could not convince them otherwise. This is why people use us. We're sure of it. It's why. So fast forward, right? We take them through the process, the discovery process. We talk to their customers. Well, it turns out most of their customers, I take that back, all of their customers didn't care about the back end AI. They just assumed that was their.
Yeah.
All these customers wanted is they just wanted peace of mind, knowing that when they're going on their dream vacation, I'm going scuba diving in Aruba and I'm spending, lots of money. I just want to make sure that I'm covered.
Yep.
That's all I want. That's all I want. Don't get me into the fine print of everything. So this company was giving them too much information. So we discovered from their clients, all they want was peace of mind.
Yeah.
All they want was just to know they can go on their vacation and it's fine. So we adjusted the messaging to really describe that. And their sales went from actually very, very lackluster to through the roof,
Nice.
just by literally changing how you position and how you message the company. And I'll go back to what I said earlier. The messaging of a company is the most important thing any organization will ever do. Because I would argue that I don't care how much money you spend.
Mm-hmm.
social media, conventional media. I don't care how much money you spend. If you're not saying the right thing, it's never going to work as well as it can.
No, I agree, and that's great words of advice because it's basically finding out what is the unique selling proposition of that one product, good or service. It's finding, those USPs, and then what is it about the client? Do they like those, or are they targeting the right unique selling proposition, right? To position them
Yeah.
to convert
It-
more people, you
sure.
know?
And Kat, you and I know that, right? You and I know that. But most organizations guess at that, or they assume they know the answer.
Oh yeah. No,
And
I
that's
concur.
really my point here. That's my
Yes.
point. It's
Yes.
that assumption that many times is the most costly mistake organizations ever make because they assume they know. And this is not a put down on them. It's just kind of a natural human thing that happens. You really think you know. You truly do. And then you go down the path of that and only to realize, and you won't realize for 6, 12, 18 months down the line that it's really not working. Well,
Yep.
it's not working because your assumption was incorrect.
Yep.
You need to go through the process to get to the point where you know for a fact this is what you need to say. This is your position. This is your
Yeah.
messaging. And until you do that, it's marketing is a dangerous game.
Yeah. And I agree because a lot of people waste a lot of money in different areas because they don't know what that unique message should be or what it is. And they make a lot of assumptions. And, the common thing I hear, and I'm sure you hear this too, John, is, oh, I tried it. It didn't work. Right. And
All the time.
and there's so many components to that because there could be, well, how long did you try it, and there could be, are you sure you actually gave it a good try, then it goes to what you're saying and alluding to was the message right, was it correct? And a lot of times the message is not right, or correct, and so you miss the mark, you totally miss the mark. But I do hear that a lot. Oh, I tried that. That didn't work. It doesn't work for us. You know?
Yeah, and there's a solution to that. And if you go through the process, it's like anything, right? You go through
Yep.
a process that has data involved.
Yep.
Because the data, you can't argue the data. You cannot argue it, and the data is very insightful. And every time, it's funny. Every time we've done this, we have a little thing in our company that we always bet our client a dollar. That what you think your client wants to hear you say and what we discover are not going to align.
Right.
And after 40 years, we've never lost a dollar.
Yeah.
And it's because it is such a common thing to happen. And challenger brand marketing is built. It's built around that premise of you cannot guess.
Yep.
You cannot guess. And you have to approach it as if you get one shot at success. So when you get one shot at success, you better be right. All right.
Yep.
And we need as a team, right? Our clients and us, we as a team need to get to the point where we know we are right. We know this is what we need to say. We know this is our differentiator. We know this is how we position ourselves against our competitors. We know these are the words we have to say for someone to, when they hear them for the first time, go, it's exactly what I'm looking for. How did you know? And that doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah. And let's just recap this again because you mentioned some of the mistakes companies make. So can you just retouch on that again? And I know the one astounding one because I've been paying attention, but I want to make sure everybody has a good takeaway in the most common mistakes and then the one that you are harping on today.
Yeah. So the most common mistake is assuming you know what your customers need to hear you say. And I don't say that to be arrogant or anything. I say that based on 40 years of seeing this happen.
Yep.
And it's the most common thing because it's so normal, right? You live your business every day, you talk to your customers every
Yep.
day. It's impossible for you as a business executive, business owner, to step outside of your business and look at it from the outside in objectively, like a prospective new customer would. It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Yep.
So therefore, right, what that prospect is looking for, what that prospect needs to hear you say, is going to be very different than what you are the way you're going to say it.
Yep.
And knowing what to say changes everything. It changes how much business you close, or if you have a sales team, they're now saying the right thing all the way through to your website generating more leads, your marketing programs working better, more efficiently, and just generating more activity.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I see this as a common trend because, again, like you said, business owners are ingrained in their business and they forget the little reasons why they started their business. And I'll give you a great example. I have a client who has a commercial janitorial cleaning business, and she started that business. And I always try to remind her she started that business because she hated the way other cleaning companies were cleaning the office she represented. And she said, I'm going to do it my way and do it the right way. And so it's reminding yourself of, why did you start that business? What made you want to? Because there is a reason, right? And we forget about it as we do all the day to day and the hustle and bustle. And we forget because we boil it down now to numbers and cents because that's what happens, right? That's just what
Right.
happens, you know?
Yeah, in the sake of your, in the case of your client, right? So when she started her business, she was an entrepreneur, and I assume all of her clients came from word of mouth. So
Mm-hmm.
she had, and people were hiring her, right? Because she was a good person, honest, did a good job. As she grew, and as she continues to grow, at some point she cannot talk to every prospect possible.
Right.
So her marketing and her marketing messaging needs to do that talking for her. And that's kind of the point where most growing businesses, right, start to disconnect
Yep.
because they can't speak to everybody. They need to grow, so their messaging needs to be out there, saying what the audience needs to hear.
Yep.
At the same time, positioning their brand within their proper niche, as well as growing their brand in the marketplace.
Yeah, exactly. And so sometimes we forget that messaging, we forget that why reason, which is a big reason because that's literally what separates yourself from your competitors. And you put that front and foremost. Awesome. Okay, so you have written a book, John, right?
I have, yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, so we just finished it. It's called Challenger Brand Marketing, and I'm very happy to say that it did hit the bestseller list, so that was very exciting for us. And it really is a how-to book. It's a how-to for challenger brands of all shapes, sizes, and industry. It's detail of what we're talking about today, and much more. And so I wrote it because I don't have a lot. I have a very short attention span. Like most entrepreneurs, right? I have a very short attention span. So I have a pet peeve when I read a book that I go, okay, there's something I want to learn, and you read 300 pages only to come to page 299 to get to what you really needed. Well,
Yeah.
why could you just told me that up front and save me all the time? So with that with that little pet peeve in mind, the book Challenger Brand Marketing was created. So it's a lot of short, sweet, very impactful chapters that are just how to stuff.
Awesome.
How to, yeah, beginning to end.
And then where can they find this book, John?
Well, thanks for asking me that, Kat. I appreciate that. They can go to our website,
Yeah.
gumas.com, gumas.com. There's a link that will take you to Amazon, and
Okay.
Amazon's the best place to buy it. They get it out pretty quickly,
Yep.
but yeah, that's the easiest way to get it.
Okay. And then if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and connect with you, are they able to on LinkedIn?
Of course, yeah, of course. So all my handles are pretty much John Gumas. But if they want to ask me a question directly, they're welcome
Yep.
to email me as long as they say they're a friend of yours. And my email is the letter J Gumas at gumas.com. So that's spelled Gumas at gumas.com.
Awesome. Fantastic, John. Any last words for the audience that are tuning in?
Well, I kind of harp on the same thing is don't assume you know what you need
Yep.
to do. And this is your business you're talking about. This is very critical, and getting this information right, I believe, will be the most valuable thing you ever do in marketing and branding.
Yeah.
And spending more money is not the most valuable thing, but getting the message right is.
Yes.
And because once you get the message right, you will start to see significantly greater results.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. And understanding why your customers buy from you. I mean, you really harped on that. And that to me, if that was my biggest takeaway, is really understanding why your customers buy from you, because it's those little things that those golden nuggets that you can pull from and use.
Right. And
Absolutely.
Kat, just one I would add to that is that's right. But now you have to articulate it in a way
Yeah.
that is unique to your competitors,
Yep.
right? Because every company has competitors, and I have
Mhm.
yet to see a competitor that say, "Oh, don't buy from us, buy from this company because they're much better than we are."
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't happen, right? Everyone is saying we're the best, we have
Right.
this. So as customers, as prospects, all right, they're getting bombarded. So how do you break through the clutter
Yeah.
and the clutter of the market, the clutter of your competitors, so you stand out? And the only way you do that is by saying what that prospect needs to hear and saying
Absolutely.
it in a way that is unique to your direct competitors.
Absolutely. John, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure, Kat. Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks. Thank you for joining me in the Stand Out and Grow live podcast. If you have any questions, please drop your comments below in the comments. I'm happy to address them. John will also be happy to address them. If you want to tag him, I can go back and tag him. So no worries. Somebody will get back to you. I hope this was beneficial. And if you're just now catching it, hit rewind and get it from the beginning, because Challenger brand marketing was what we talked about, which was super awesome from John Gumas. And again, you can connect with him on LinkedIn. So until next time, you got this.